Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'm excited that you all are joining us tonight. I'm April Wagner, and you're going to hear from myself and my husband, Bob. And, a little bit about us and this discovery that I'm going to talk about, activation versus supplementation. So this is actually an industry we have been in for almost 30 years. I know I don't look it. No, I'll say that myself, but no one wants to admit they've been in an industry for 30 years. But 25 of those years, the first 25 years we spent in this industry, were really with a company that did supplementation. And it's pretty cool because we actually brought supplements, multivitamins, into physician offices for 25 years. So we literally made millions with that company, did over 200 million in sales with that company, and really had an organization and a business all around the United States. So you would have thought that we had a really good handle on, what was the latest in nutrition and, just how to keep our bodies young and how to stay healthy. And really with all the different doctors, we should have had it known. Well, about 4.5 years ago, we found out about something called activation. And that's actually what I'm going to talk about tonight, how activation is different from supplementation. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that discovery that we've started to share with you. And then Bobby will tell you about the really cool story that continues with the company itself. And we'll keep this right at 30 minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. We still got some people joining us. So what I'm going to talk about tonight is the difference between activation and supplementation. And like I said, we've been in this industry for 30 years. First 25 years was all supplementation. And by supplementation to our bodies, it could be a multivitamin that you may be taking, could be a form of vitamin C, D, you kind of get the drift there. Could be, some people prefer a more natural approach, could want to just use, vegetables and fruits, that type of thing. But that is supplementation. That is something that we are literally adding to our body. What we're going to talk about tonight is something called activation. And activation is going to flip a switch on some aging pathways in our body. So this all began with a single discovery. And actually this doctor, this scientist asked, is declining health something we must accept as part of getting older? And I can really relate to that. When early on, my husband and I, after we were married a few years, actually took care of my grandmother. And her last years were not kind, so kind as to ultimately had to be in a nursing home. And this is not unusual. There's a trend out there the last 10 years of people's lives, but, her last 10 years were nursing homes, were ultimately feeding tubes, not remembering who I was, wearing diapers, just, what none of us, an end of a life none of us want. And so I have always been very proactive with my health because, I don't want my last 10 years. And if you look at the statistics, the last 10 years of our lives are those dependent on other things. So here, this scientist, this doctor actually figured out a way that our bodies create their own antioxidants. The whole reason that we've been supplementing for these last few decades, taking on, vitamins, fruits, and vegetables, the reason we've been supplementing is to stay healthy. What we didn't realize that early on, our bodies create all these antioxidants naturally. And for this discovery, this was a huge, huge discovery, the Elliott Crescent Award, he was awarded. And really, it was unbelievable to scientists and doctors that knew about this. And so, this Elliott Crescent Award is something that, very, very few people are even aware of, but it's very, very prestigious in the science industry. But the downside to this discovery at that point, and this was back in the 60s, the downside to discovery was that once we get in our 20s, our body stops creating these antioxidants. And so they now know that aging starts in our 20s. And, it's funny because it's kind of a downhill slope from there. But, he wasn't satisfied with that. And he went back to the lab for a number of decades. And he actually figured out how to flip the switch on this aging pathway so that our bodies could now recreate antioxidants. So that pathway was now flipped back on, and we now have these antioxidants to stay healthy. And I'm going to go through this and 2 other different pathways on how we really can keep our bodies not only healthy, but certainly looking younger as well. So when he figured out how to flip the switch on this pathway, it's called NRF2 activation. And a couple of things went on. You know, this discovery started initially in the 60s, and then it went into the 80s and 90s, and the company started later than that. But he figured out how to flip the switch on these aging pathways so that now that our genes, and you've heard people talk about genes, it used to be we were destined to our parents' genes, and maybe you heard that, or maybe you heard it put this way that, you know, if your family has a certain disease that runs in it, a certain pathway of aging, you're kind of predisposed to that. Well, we now have control, and for a long time we said 80%. I think it's up to 90% now. We have 90% control over our good genes, and that can be using products like these through diet and exercise. And we're able to what they call downregulate the bad genes, so that we're not necessarily destined to the ill fate of our parents' aging pathway. So a little bit sciencey term here. Oxidative stress is the term that I need to use. What oxidative stress is really the difference between the amount of free radicals our body creates while we're exercising, while we're breathing, while we're eating, certainly based on the water, microwaves, cell phones, all that stuff creates what we call free radicals. When we take in supplementation, when our body early in our 20s has all those antioxidants, that's really good, and it keeps our cells healthy. But again, like I said, after age 20, what happens is we have so many more free radicals. We don't have the antioxidants. And so what that is called is oxidative stress. And you can see over time, oxidative stress just causes a very diseased, old looking cell, a cell none of us would want. So this is actually the product that this scientist created. It's called Protandim NRF2 Synergizer, because NRF2 is that pathway. And what it does is it reduces that oxidative stress by some 40% in the first 30 days. So you remember how diseased looking that cell was getting. That's oxidative stress. So 40% in the first 30 days. This is unheard of. Protandim activates your body to create more than 1 million times per second the antioxidant value. And that is so much more than any foods we could take. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more. But even more exciting, it increases glutathione levels by 300%. If you're not familiar with glutathione, that's our master antioxidant. In fact, there are studies on certain diseases that once you increase glutathione levels, it inhibits or reduces those diseases. And there's lots of studies out there on that too. It is very hard, and you cannot increase it through foods. There are some medical labs where people go and get IVs and stuff to try to increase it, but again, can't increase it anywhere near what we do with the 300%. Because this is such exciting, discovery and information, you better believe we need to have patents on this formulation, because, just think about it, common sense tells you that every nutraceutical, pharmaceutical, vitamin company out there would want to have and copy this formulation, because it's a plant-based formulation. That's becoming big in all different areas, but it has 5 different plant-based ingredients in it. Now, my husband and I, we actually took 3 of these, like I said, 25 years in and out of physician offices. We thought we knew pretty much the nutritional scene. We took 3 of these plant-based ingredients already. We already were taking ashwagandha, we took green tea, and we took turmeric, and we took them separately. And we said to ourselves, we could have just added the bacopa and the milk thistle and called it a day and been our own mad scientists. But this is very interesting. By using this formulation of 1 pill, instead of using 5 different pills or 5 different plant-based ingredients, we get 1,800% better results using his 1 pill, as opposed if we tried to be a mad scientist ourselves. And that is just super, super exciting. So much so that in order to mimic the same results that we're getting with this 1 pill, every day, day in, day out, we would need to ingest 11 pounds of blueberries, 375 oranges, 120 vitamin C tablets, and drink 87 glasses of red wine every day, day in and day out. You know, I did the food costs on that at one point. It was like $700 a day to be able to get access to all that food if you could ingest it, or you could just take this one little pill, which is a whole lot cheaper. You know, it's so exciting that you can see for every decade or so that we're around, the oxidative stress levels, so that's inflammation, that's disease, that's aging, increase greatly. But by using Protandim, every month that we're on it, we decrease a whole decade of oxidative stress. So instead of it going up, it is going down at this point. So what we could do is, to give you an illustration, we could take the blood, or we could put an 80-year-old that had been on Protandim for 8 months, a 60-year-old that had been on Protandim for 6 months, and a 40-year-old that had been on Protandim for 4 months, and a 20-year-old. And if we took all of their blood, we could not truly tell whose blood was that originally of the 20-year-old. They would all have the blood of back when they were in their 20s, which is super, super exciting. The NIA actually did a study that shows that Protandim extends life on an average about 7%. Pretty exciting there too. But you know what I love about this? You know, in our first business for 25 years with all those physicians, it was kind of our opinion. You know, it's kind of like politics or religion, you know, how much vitamin C somebody should take, how much vitamin D they should be taking on a daily basis. None of this is our opinion. In fact, this is probably the most well-studied subject out there these days. We actually have some 30+ studies on the product itself. And I bet anything you have in your kitchen cabinet now, as far as nutritional products, does not have the studies that we have here. So 30+ studies on PubMed. If you're not familiar with PubMed, PubMed is kind of a site like where, I'm just letting people in. PubMed is kind of a site where you can see doctors and scientists go in order to get studies on different, typically pharmaceutical drugs, not nutritional products. So we have 30+ studies on the nutritional products itself, you know, on Protandim. But that says 230, you know, last I heard there's some 270,000 studies on oxidative stress and its relation to disease, aging, and inflammation. And a summary of all those studies goes so far as to say that if we can reduce oxidative stress levels, we can reduce disease, we can reduce inflammation, we can reduce aging, which is super, super exciting. So some of the large universities that actually did studies were Harvard, the National Institute of Health, you saw the National Institute of Aging, Colorado State, Florida, Washington State University went so far to say, and this is really exciting, so catch this. Washington State University said the health effects of NRF2 may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and the most extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. So this is just groundbreaking science here. And, you know, we get the privilege of sharing this information as well. If we can just mute that. Okay. We can go ahead and mute whoever just joined. That'd be great. Okay. So, and I lost some slides here. What? Okay. All right. So we also have we actually have 2 other pathways of aging, and the slides aren't there. So I'm just going to speak to them briefly, and I wish I could show you the science. Not quite sure where those slides went. Oh, there they are. Okay. All right. So we've got our second pathway is that of mitochondria. And mitochondria, you may remember from biology, is simply ATP, or energy in the cells. And we need this energy at the cells. And there's lots of these little mitochondria in each cell. But what happens is, as we get older, we decrease the amount of mitochondria we have. And so I think that's why they said sometimes after 40, it's all downhill. But we need this energy to, you know, be able to have our brain function, to have our heartbeat, to have our lungs inflate and deflate, to have our muscles work. And like I said, by midlife, we decrease half of that. And we do that through a lot of different things, whether it be stress or different products, foods that we take in. So they came out with Protandim NRF1. And what this does is it actually increases the amount of energy we have at a cellular level, decreases the amount of mitochondria, and it also slows down the aging process. So this NRF1, no correlation to the NRF2, but they work really well together. It improves sleep quality, it improves cellular repair, it supports the cardiovascular system, brain health. It really just gives us all the energy we need to, again, just slow down that aging process and repair. And you can see it's all natural ingredients. The third pathway, and this is a super exciting one, this is a lot to me, just a major anti-aging product, is NAD. And NAD, what it does is it increases the amount of proteins or sirtuins we have at a cellular level. When we increase these proteins, because again, we get to midlife, we've done a good job of just eliminating a lot of these proteins. But when we increase these proteins, which we can do by taking 2 pills, or we could do on severe calorie restricted diet. And I mean, for me, it would probably be about 600 calories a day, no fun for sure, to increase those sirtuins, or I could just take these 2 pills that get activation 100% in the first 24 hours. So like some of the benefits are it increases mental focus and concentration. It supports positive mood and motivation, helps with exercise endurance, exercise recovery, libido. It boosts mental and physical energy. It helps supports the inflammation response in our bodies, helps with cholesterol levels, helps with the vascular system, helps with weight loss. So many great benefits that you feel that really the first day you take this product. So this is a really, really exciting product. But another cool thing goes on. You know, quite often people say to me, April, which one of these 3 should I use? Well, it is best to use all 3 of these. And actually, this has a lot of science being done. It's patent pending process to use all 3 of these together, because it's kind of like a pinball machine. Each one plays off of each other, and we get 2,100% better results with each product when we use the 3 of those in together and work on all 3 aging pathways there. So it's really cool. And I know you saw this slide before, but you know, we have the NRF2 that we can use on the outside as well. So we have some super clean products, but we have hair care, very results oriented. Ask the person that got you on here if you're, you know, interested in just having better hair, reducing the breakage, growth, and also skincare line that's just amazing, amazing. You're going to love it. We also have brain health, has again that NRF2 activation in it, because we are bombarded with free radicals all day long, regardless of what we do. We just need to eat, chew, swallow, breathe to be able to create these free radicals. Another super cool product that I personally just really was going to be a sleeper. I didn't know why we brought this product to market, but you know, we're in front of computers all day, we're in front of cell phones all day, you know, the sun, the TVs, a lot of blue light coming out. It does a lot of damage to our eyes and kind of makes them tired on the little side. But you know, there are a lot of people that have macular degeneration, retina problems. They can't see at night when they're driving. They start to need cheaters when they become a little bit older, maybe into their 40s. And so all of this, we have this NRF2 pathway working again to help our eyes. And we've gotten tremendous, tremendous testimonies on that as well. But, you know, this is a summary of all the benefits there. You know, improved sleep quality. Again, whether it's the blue light, whether it's aging pathways, as we get older, they say about 65% of us have problems sleeping, and sleeping is what we do to help our bodies repair itself. So using these products, you can improve your sleep quality, improves exercise, recovery, overall energy, mental focus, concentration, healthier hair, skin, and nails, and really, you know, that exciting part. And again, it's all science, slows down the aging of our cells and restores it to that of when we were 20 years old. So, you know, who doesn't want the blood of a 20-year-old with the knowledge of however old you are today? But, you know, that's a little bit about the discovery of activation and supplementation. But the company has a super cool story, and I'm going to allow my husband to come, and he's actually going to share that with you. So if you'll just wait 1 minute, thanks for that time.
Hey, good evening, everyone. You know, I never get tired of hearing that information that that April was just sharing with you. And you know, I want to share one thought with you before I go a little bit into the company, which is called LifeVantage. April had mentioned that. But do you ever do like me? You ever do what if? You know, do just a what if? And one of the things that I've learned over the years is if you're going to do what if, always do it on the positive side. Okay, it's, you know, you got a 50-50 shots, always do it on the positive side. And maybe this is just the street smarts in me. April and I didn't go to college. We've been self-employed entrepreneurs since a very young age. But do a what if. Say, what if I use this for 90 days, 120 days? And what if it worked? What if it worked? Do you know that there's over 250 diseases out there, almost everything that you could think of, almost, okay, that inflammation and oxidative stress have a direct negative effect on? And if you got rid of oxidative stress and inflammation, whatever else it was causing would be lightened to whatever degree, only God knows, but would be lightened. So do a what if. What do I have to lose? Now, this isn't a rinky-dink company, okay? We're publicly traded, okay? We're LifeVantage. And one thing that's really cool, if the person who invited you on here tonight, if they haven't already showed you the ABC Primetime Investigative Report, it's a video. It's about 10 or 11 minutes long, but it's fascinating. Okay, imagine the information April is just sharing with you, but you're seeing it happen live, okay, in a lab with a doctor and John Kiyunis doing the investigative report. You're seeing it live. It is just fascinating stuff. Ask him to send you the video, okay? But we're on the NASDAQ. We started in 2009, okay? So we've been a direct sales company since 2009, so we're about 12 years old. But one of the things that happened is we also became leaders in the industry called nutrigenomics. And contrary to what you and I grew up being taught and learning when we were young, our DNA, our genes, okay, and we've always thought, well, it's the hand I've been dealt. I was born with them. Do you know that we could change and have control over something like 80 to 90% of them? We're only kind of stuck with 10 to 20% of them. We have control over the rest. You may have heard of epigenomics, but it's amazing what science has done out there. And we're the leaders in that market of nutrigenomics. We're doing about $250 million a year in sales, between 230 and 250 million a year. And I always like to mention, because just about everybody has seen the movie Erin Brockovich. Well, the real Erin Brockovich is a health advocate all over the world. And she actually sits on our board and is a major shareholder of our company. So that's a little bit about us. As far as the global picture goes, we're currently doing business in 23 countries. Our newest market, and we've already done millions and millions of sales just in the last 4 months, is the Philippines. Okay, so that's our newest market. I heard through the grapevine that corporate was visiting some other Asian countries. One I heard in particular was South Korea. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying I heard they were visiting there. Well, generally when they visit there, they're kind of getting ready to open it. That's generally, they don't just like throw a dart at a board. There's a reason for it. But we have plans to go into 100 different countries over the next 5 years. And the way technology works now, that's a whole lot easier to do than it used to be. But let me talk to you about the benefits of a business like this. And if you would do me a favor, just be thinking a little bit about the last 2 years with the pandemic. It's amazing how that quieted down when war started, isn't it? They're just like, well, what about COVID? I'm not hearing about it no more. What about it? But think about the last 2 years, okay, please. And be honest with yourself and be honest with what you saw and what you've noticed with your family, friends, loved ones, neighbors, and everything else, okay? So these are the benefits of a business like this. We get to work from home, okay? Or anywhere we happen to go. April and I like to hang out at the beach. We live in Florida. We're New Yorkers that moved to Florida like half the rest of the state, and we like to work from the beach. But you can work from home or anywhere you happen to be. It's a social sharing type of business where most of what we do is by text or using an app on our phone. So I always like to say this, if you can check your email, okay, if you can call an Uber, if you got an account on Facebook or Amazon, you're already doing this business. You're just not getting paid yet for it. Okay, so our business is completely virtual, minimal startup cost, no inventory. It's like we're in Amazon, there's no inventory requirements. Everything's done online, and we all have our own personal store, online store. It comes with it. We're distributors, but it's like having a franchise. And get this, our store is in every language of every country that we're in. So, a lot of folks say, well, Bobby, you say we're in 22 countries, but I don't know people in 22 countries. You know what? With 3 billion people now on social media, it won't take you long to realize that you have access to people in every country in the world. That's why it's so important, especially with the United States being a melting pot. At some point, all of us, our ancestors came from somewhere else. Okay, there's roots going to somewhere else. So it's really a fascinating system that we have in place, and the money that can be earned. Okay, and I'm not going to get specific with this. We're going to keep this to 30 minutes, like we said, but just think about this for a second. Do you know, if there were 50 people using that Tri-Synergizer that April was talking about, and it was going out every month, okay, just on auto ship subscription, that's how everything works these days, folks. You know it. You go on Amazon, you buy something, it's $25 unless you're on subscription, and it's $20, and they just send it every month. That's just how things work. Well, we have a subscription program. You get a discount and free shipping. But if just 50 people were using it, you'd be earning $600 to $700 a month every month. Do you know, if just 100 people were using it, and I didn't say you had 100 customers, I say your team had 100 customers, okay, you'd be earning $3,000 to $4,000 a month. Do you know, if your team had 200 customers, okay, the number jumps dramatically, okay? So I'm just saying, whatever the number, and I'm sorry, that's 2,000 customers, whatever the number is that would help you be more comfortable with the situation, it's very easy to map out a business plan to show you how to do it, and generally we talk about a 3 to 5 year plan, but there's so much money available to be made up front in the beginning that a lot of people can have an opportunity to replace a full-time income early on. So, and again, we can go over that with you in a private appointment, but here's what I'd really like you to think about. Is this a good business opportunity? Well, then you got to evaluate, okay, what you got, what you own, so here's the 5 big things. Okay, we have unique patented products that cannot be purchased anywhere else. We appeal to a massive market globally. Everybody gets benefits from these products. And by the way, there's a money back guarantee with the products, 100%. Okay, so if somebody uses a product for 30 days and they don't feel it worked, the company just has a money back guarantee. Do you know they're so affordable? I mean, amazingly affordable. Okay, they're backed by reputable science. April went through that with you. I'm not a science person, but I'm thrilled to death the science was done. I'm the kind of person that, hey, I'm going to take it, and if it works, it works. And I don't necessarily need to know how it works. I just need to know it's safe. And when I advise people to take it, it's going to work. It's consumable, and we use a subscription model. Now, what does consumable mean? It means it has to be ordered over and over again. It's like you and I don't want to upset you here, but I'm going to use this example. It's like you and I going to the grocery store or the gas pump. Now, those are not two popular subjects right now because everything is, double or triple the price over the last year compared to what it was. Okay, but consumable is consumable. That means it disappears and you need to go back and get it again. So the beauty of being in a business like this is it's consumable and it goes out again and again. But here's the real question, and please be honest with yourself here, okay? Can I do it? Can I do this? Okay. Well, can you use an app and can you text from your phone? That's the main question here. If you are or can use an app and you're currently texting from your phone, welcome to what you need to be able to do in this business. Okay. You have the skills necessary. Do you know that when we do the business is the in-between times of our day and evening? And what do I mean by in-between times? You know, when you check your text, you check your email, you check your social media, you know, it's those in-between times. Well, that's when we do the business. And I'm not saying you don't spend some time with it. What I'm saying is you have the flexibility to do everything that you need to do in your life, okay, and work this into the schedule. We have a simple ITT system. You do not need to reinvent the wheel. We invite, we share a tool with people, and then we have a team available to answer questions for you and help you through the training process. That's all there is to doing this. See, somebody invited you on here tonight, and do you know you could have invited 5 or 10 people on here tonight and launched your business? It's that simple. You could have shared a link or an invitation. It's that simple to get started in the business. So, you know, the business excites me. I love the way it's adapted post-pandemically and the way we're doing things now around the world. But, you know, if you want to be supportive, there's 3 options available. Okay. You can just, and I don't know why you wouldn't do the what if, you know, in other words, take it yourself and test it on yourself and see if you feel and look younger. You know, you saw my wife, April. I mean, we met in 8th grade. Do you know, I joke about it. Do you know she has a 35-year-old son? I didn't say I have a 35-year-old son. Did you know she does? She looks like she's 39 years old. Well, that's not possible with a 35-year-old kid. Okay, so why wouldn't you want to use the product? It doesn't, there's no fees to join. Our monthly subscriptions are a discounted price. You save about 20% and you get free shipping. Okay, but even better, do you know you can join the business and use the products and you're not obligated to do anything in the business, but you're allowed to do things in the business whenever you choose to. And you can earn 40% whenever you recommend it to someone and they make a purchase. You know, April and I, we're taking it to a whole different level. We're building a multi-million-dollar a month business, but you know, we're also building a legacy business for our children and grandchildren too, you know, so it's willable and transferable. Okay, if you are a person that can make or recommend referrals, what a perfect place for you to be. But it's so easy to get started. Okay, all you got to do is talk to the person who invited you on and just say, hey, I like what I hear. How do I get started? And it'll take you 5 to 10 minutes to get started. That's all there is to it. But I want to show you one thing, and then I'm going to go back and ask everyone to come back to the live screen. Let me just give you an example of what 40% means in this business. You know, and I just picked a couple examples here, okay? You know, and these, you know, maybe the first 2 maybe apply to women a little more, and then car payments, everybody, rent payments, everybody. But, you know, if you want to offset getting your nails done and they cost $40, do you know getting one person on a Tri-Synergizer, you make 40% on that, you make $40, it's a wash. Okay, getting your hair done, if it's $120, you get 3 people to use a Tri-Synergizer, you make $120, and you've erased that debt, that bill. You know, a car payment, $350. And again, I took a low number, okay, but I'm just making an example so you could understand. Do you know if one person got started in the business with our Elite Pack, you'd make a $340 commission, you could erase your car payment. And if you did that 4 times, that would be $1,400. You could erase the rent payment. See, we could very easily show you how to cover college tuition, gas money, food money, paying the rent, supplementing retirement, whatever it is that you got on your mind, we could easily map that out for you. So I want to thank you. Okay. April and I never, ever, ever take your time for granted. We very much appreciate and we're very grateful that you gave us, your time, and, and you're supporting the person that invited you. I really would like to see everybody, if you're not already in, join our Facebook group. It's called Lifespan Matters with Team Unity. And again, the person who invited you can add you to the group or send you an invitation. The link is right on the screen. Okay. All you got to do is just read the testimonies of what unsolicited testimonies that are in there. Read them and see if you don't want to have that experience with those products. It's a product group where testimonies are shared. But what I'm going to do is stop the slides, and I want to go back to the live screen so I could see everybody. See, I like to see everybody. See, this is the screen I like to. I would rather not use slides. I would rather just talk to you. That would be my preference if I had my choice. No slides, okay? But you know what? When you're hearing information for the first time, and people retain information much better when they can see it and hear it. Okay. And that's the point of, having slides up. But I'd much rather be interacting with you if I had my choice. Okay. That would be my thing. So I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. A couple minutes over. I don't like doing that, but if you would you please respond back to the person that invited you on and let them know that you were on. Okay. And you may have already seen them here. You may both be looking at each other, but let them know that you were on, and let them know, hey, I want to use the product myself. I want to know more about getting involved in the business. I kind of like that 40% for starters. Let them know, or I have some other questions. Can we meet? I have some additional questions. Let them know where you are and what your curiosity is. We'd be very grateful if you would do that. So anyway, can we all wave good night to everybody? Okay. I think it's good night most places. A lot of times we're dealing with the Philippines, and it's, right now it's morning over there, or sometimes we're dealing with Europe and they're in bed right now. It's 6 hours later over there. But have a great night, everyone. Thank you for getting on. And we can be reached, April and I, okay? So if you don't know how to reach us, get back to the person that got you on, and they will arrange for you to be able to get in touch with us. So have a good night. Bye-bye.